I'm Mega Mike the Movie Man, and today I have a mega movie plan. Mega Mike the Movie Man back with another mega pregame show for you all. The best pregame show on this planet. We are going to be getting hyped for Doctor Strange 2. So I have 10 discussion questions here today to go over, saving the most important question for the very end, which is our box office predictions. But I'm actually joined by a co-host for this show. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to her so she can introduce herself.
Hello, Last American Girl here. Big fan of Mike and big fan of Marvel. So ready to go.
All right, perfect. So a lot of questions to get through. So I hope everybody has their drinks ready. So we're going to get started right now with our question one. So our question one here is going to be, how do you feel about where we are currently with the MCU? So wow, we just had our big event movie right in December with Spider-Man No Way Home. That's why I'm still rocking the Spider-Man gear today. And so that was our big last event film. I'm really excited because I think this is our next big event film, right? We've been going without Avengers movies for quite some time now. So hopefully this can kind of fill that void a little bit. So I'm happy right now where we're at with the MCU. I think we're getting kind of more of these side off stories or little team pair up stories for now. But I'm pretty excited because, yes, now we actually get a really epic movie. Because you know what? I've been happy with the Disney Plus shows so far, but they haven't been on that epic scale for me yet, like a movie. So this one, I'm actually pretty hyped for, and I'm hoping we see a lot from this. What do you think, Last American Girl? How are you feeling about the MCU right now?
I really like where we're at right now. What you were saying with the big movies and the production and everything, it feels like their budgets have been opened and it's here you go, make what you've been making this whole time. And which is a great movie. Even the last one I saw, which was Morbius, I was a little skeptical about it, but then I watched it and it was like, this is what a Marvel movie this is great. And however, I do think it where it's at right now, it's kind of a mess with the multiverse and everything, but I enjoy that chaos and I think it adds to what's been drawing so much attention over these past couple of movies of how they're going to go about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Morbius. I was actually not including that one because I'm like, well, even though it is a Marvel character, it is a Sony movie. So is it really part of the MCU or is it more the Sony verse? So I'm like, I don't even know if I should mention Morbius, but I'm glad you did because I actually enjoyed that movie more than most. I know a lot of people didn't really like that one. And yeah, there was probably some flaws in it from a filmmaking standpoint with some very jumpy editing cuts and kind of how the story was put together, but it was still a superhero movie and it was still fun to me. It still kind of gave me like that 90s classic superhero vibe, taking it back to like the days of the Blade movies and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know if I would consider it a part of the MCU, but has a Marvel character, so why not? So I had fun with that one. So this kind of leads us to our next question here, our question two. And this is going to be just talking about what do we think of the Doctor Strange character? Now to me, Doctor Strange has has not really got that much time to shine when you think about it. Yeah, he had one movie, but really in the other movies, he's just kind of been, I guess, a side or supporting character. And actually, I wouldn't even consider him an official Avenger because you know what? He's more a master of the mystic arts. He wasn't really recruited by Nick Fury. He wasn't hanging out at Stark's tower, right? He just kind of shows up when you need a little bit of that magic, right? So I
Mhm.
do like the character for what he's brought so far, but I don't think he's had that movie yet really stands out. Even though he was in Spider-Man No Way Home, once again, he was more of the support character that basically get that plot going, but then he really didn't play too much into it while all the good Spider-Man stuff was going on. At least that's kind of how I saw it. So I want to see a Doctor Strange movie where Doctor Strange is really showing off his power set, having a blast, and just tons of chaos around. Last American Girl, how do you feel about Doctor Strange just overall?
I like what you said about having a blast because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of them in this movie. I really like his character. I did like the I never noticed that what you said that he's not an official Avenger and everything because he was kind of that introduction into a different direction that Marvel went with incorporating more of the magic and the mystical and all that. It wasn't so much like with Iron Man and Captain America, how the the characters gained their powers through science and technology. Here we brought in the mystical world and the realms, and I think that was the push that Marvel needed into what it is now with the multiverse and everything that's happening
Yeah,
as a character. Mhm.
yeah, he really just opened up the magical element sides of everything, right? Because really it was more grounded before, like you mentioned, more like science related. And he really actually never even got it invited to a Stark party, right? If I remember correct, he
Right.
wasn't in Age of Ultron, right? At the Stark party, trying to lift the Thor hammer, wasn't recruited. He just kind of shows up randomly, right? With Infinity War,
Mhm.
what happens? The Incredible Hulk just lands into that place, and then it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
now Doctor Strange is here, right? Which
Doctor
is
Strange is here.
great. But he just kind of shows up randomly, right? It's not
Mhm.
really he gets called up like, hey, we got the Avengers assembled now, like let's go. At least
Yeah.
that's how I've always just kind of noticed it. So to me, he's more been that supporting character, that character that's there to help out, more of the mentor character. I guess he's kind of mentoring Spider-Man now in a way, or at least he did for No Way Home for a little bit.
Yeah, now
But
that
now
Stark is
everybody
gone.
forgot about Spider-Man, so I guess that doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, I think Doctor Strange has some good potential because he has to be one of the most powerful characters out of the MCU, I'm guessing,
Oh,
with
yeah,
magical
definitely.
abilities. So that's why I'm pretty hyped for this one. So this leads us to our next question here. Number three, what do we think of the WandaVision show? Now, this was a show that basically kind of started off all the Disney platform Marvel shows, right? This was like our first introduction into, hey, MCU before streaming TV. And I actually really liked WandaVision. Actually, I think WandaVision is still my favorite show out of the bunch that Marvel has done because it was so unique and interesting. Like that one episode, I believe it was the first one that was a black and white episode. It was like classic 50s style. I mean, that was so unique, something different, something I haven't seen before. So I just like the style of the WandaVision show, but I think that show is crucial to understanding what's happening in this movie. At least that's what I picked up a little bit from the trailer so far. I know we'll talk about the trailer a little bit more, but just seeing the grief that Wanda had gone through, I mean, I felt so bad for Wanda. I'm like, oh my gosh, Wanda, you lost everything. Like just how you grew up, you lost your brother. I mean, just everything, Vision, like all of that. I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel so sorry for this character right now. And so that was just like kind of pulling on my heartstrings. But it also showed she's extremely powerful. I mean, she was able to keep a whole town basically
Yeah.
captive, right? A captive audience for her and create this whole world through her abilities. And so I think that's going to play a lot into this movie. But I mean, overall, I just really enjoyed that show and thought it was something different and actually gave us a good character study. What do you think of that show, Last American Girl?
I adored WandaVision. As you said, it's also probably my favorite out of the new series. Well, the Disney Plus series. And although I really liked Loki, and I think that it also kind of opened us up to the multiverse. I feel that WandaVision was kind of that first teaser glimpse as to the direction that they were going with, just by bringing in Evan Peters as Quicksilver as their brother. How they brought him in from what was the Sony Fox universe and brought him straight into the main Marvel timeline.
Yeah, but didn't that character ended up being just like some random person, right? I don't think they officially said that was like a Quicksilver from an alternate universe, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, they didn't specifically say, but I mean, at least when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's Quicksilver right there." And it kind of, I don't know, I got that vibe.
So do you think it's still like that's that Quicksilver from that other universe? Because
I think so. I think that
okay.
Wanda, um, she's so powerful, and at the end of WandaVision, we see how she's starting to do the Doctor Strange magic and going into the multiverse and all that. So I think subconsciously, with how pained she was, with how hurt she was, she may have been the one to have opened the multiverse just by trying to get her brother back in some way.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking that they did that to kind of try to fool the audience, like kind of give us like a shocking moment, but then we found out that really it was just some random person. Because I don't know, I don't feel like they gave us enough of it afterwards, but maybe in
Mhm.
this movie we'll get a little bit more of a confirmation of, oh no, this really was that Quicksilver from that alternate universe. That would be awesome. I'd be super hyped to see that because that was like one of the best moments in the WandaVision show. I was so excited when that character showed up. So maybe it's a possibility. All right,
Yeah,
so
and
let's
there's also to add to it, also the Quicksilver is coming from this Quicksilver comes from Days of Future Past, which is what Professor Xavier has been rumored to have come from.
yes, that's true. And we'll talk a little bit more about him in a future question.
And I'm also repping the WandaVision
Oh,
shirt.
got the WandaVision. Ooh, that's awesome. All right, so let's go to question 4 here. Okay, let's talk about what did we think of that first Doctor Strange movie. So I really liked that Doctor Strange movie, at least the beginning part of it and the end of it. I thought just kind of how Doctor Strange was very cocky and just was like, "Oh, I can solve any surgery and I'm just like so magnificent, right?" But then he gets distracted and gets extremely injured and then he's just like in that moment in the hospital, I'm just like, "Oh my goodness." He's like because he's like what happened? Like, what happened to my hands? And they're like, oh, no one could have done a better job. And he's like, I could have. But obviously you can't, right? Because he just physically can't at that point. And so I thought that was a really good introduction to the Doctor Strange character. And then I liked his overall character arc in the movie, just kind of going back to studying the books, getting used to this magic. At first, not believing it, but then when he sees it, he's like, okay, I'm fascinated by it. Time to hit the library, right? And so he learns and he gets all these magical abilities. And then the ending, when he has to go up against Dormammu and he's ready to make a bargain, I thought that was absolutely hilarious. That was some great scenes there. So overall, I did enjoy the movie, but I wouldn't say it's top shelf Marvel. For me, it's probably more mid-tier Marvel. It's not like the one I'm always wanting to go back and like pick right away, but it's like, hey, maybe, once every few years or so, I'll check it out. What'd you think of the movie Last American Girl?
Okay, so for me, when I first watched it, I don't remember what year it came out, but I don't know if I was just busy or like I said, the it was just a completely different direction with Marvel. But I didn't like it. I didn't like Doctor Strange the first time that I watched it, and it was one of those movies that I just never revisited because as you now that I in retrospect, you're right, he was always just a side character and everything to me. It wasn't until What If recently that What If episode just completely changed everything for me. Seeing the parallels and everything, because it made me want to rewatch Doctor Strange. And the way that they made it, it was just so beautifully coordinated and intertwined with how the original movie was that it is actually probably one of my favorite Marvel movies now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you
Mhm.
had that big
Complete
change
winner.
with it. Oh, so you would say it's like top tier Marvel now for you?
Top tier Marvel for
Oh
me.
my goodness. You're the first person I've heard that. Wow, that is great. I mean, Oh, now you made me want to go watch it even again another time. I'm like, okay, all right. That's
Because it was
good.
I think it was like I said, the magic aspect that it didn't feel like the regular superhero movie. But now that it's been so incorporated and we're all comfortable with it and everything, it's like, oh, hold on a second, this is great.
Does Spider-Man No Way Home have anything to do with that as well?
That too,
You're like,
kind
that
of
movie
the
was awesome. So
so
yes.
much fast and everything.
All right, so this gets us into our fifth question here, and it's going to be what characters are we most excited to see in Doctor Strange 2 that are actually confirmed? So there's no spoilers here in this show. I did not look at any of the leaks. I haven't been reading up on it. I'm sure there's tons of leaked footage out there already, but I've been staying away from it. So we're just going to talk about the characters we've seen from the trailers, what they've actually put out there for the whole audiences. So we know some characters are here. Obviously, we got Doctor Strange. So we know Doctor Strange is going to be here. We
I hope
got
so.
Wanda. Well, hopefully, yeah. Imagine that's the twist, right? Doctor Strange isn't even in there for most of the movie. Hey, it could
Mhm.
be because hey,
It's
they
happened.
marketed Spider-Man No Way Home like we would have a lot of Doctor Strange in there,
Mhm.
but I don't think we actually had much Doctor Strange in there, right? For a lot of it. So it's a possibility. But for now, because it's titled that, I will say Doctor Strange. It's probably a good chance he's in a lot of the movie. And then, of course, we got
How
Wanda.
many Doctor Stranges do you think are
Oh,
confirmed?
so we have the obviously regular Doctor Strange, and then we have what would you call him, like evil Doctor Strange or zombified
I think
Doctor
it's like
Strange?
Shadow Doctor Strange.
Shadow Doctor Strange? Yeah, the alternate Doctor Strange. So I'm
Mhm.
guessing that's a main villain. I don't know if I would say that's the main villain though. What do you think? Do you think
I don't know. Again, with the what if episode, that kind of tortured, darker looking one ended up being some sort of hero. He wasn't in his own universe, but for the multiverse, he became one of the Watchers, and so I think there's a lot of gray area in this movie, and that's what they're going to touch up on.
yeah, because I could see that character uh being partly a villain at some points, but maybe he does team up with Doctor Strange and he's a hero by the end of it. I don't know. That one is like kind of my wild card character that I'm just like, I'm not too sure on that one.
Mhm.
But then we got Wanda for sure, right? That's what we talked about with WandaVision. And so Wanda, now this character is interesting to me too, because I'm like, oh, this character is kind of a wild card as well. Is Wanda going to be a villain for the entire movie? My heart says no, but it also says that she's going to be a villain partially for at least a good chunk of the movie. I think she's definitely going to
Mhm.
wreck shop in this one. I think she's going to, just kind of unleash. And I think that's going to be for probably a good chunk of the movie. But I do think by the end of it, I don't think she will stay a villain because I don't know. I don't think they want to keep Wanda a villain. That's what I'm leaning towards. What do you think with Wanda?
I think that's kind of just the way Wanda is. She's always villain first, hero later. Or she just doesn't realize, I guess, that she's the villain at some points. Like our first experience with her, she's going against the Avengers. She eventually becomes one as well herself. So there's always kind of that redemption arc for Wanda.
There's a pattern
And
there.
yeah, yeah, and same with how WandaVision was. To her, it was her ideal place. She felt she wasn't bothering anyone and everything, but she was. I mean, she was the
Just the
villain to
town
the
of people
town.
she kept captive.
Mhm. So it's the same thing. I don't think she realizes when she's causing havoc.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe she doesn't really like realize it. She's just like, I just want some nice things, I just want to be hanging out with Vision, with the kids, that type of thing. But the way she goes about it, I guess, affects others as well. So,
Mhm.
it's maybe I guess we would call her an anti-hero then, right? Like not full on villain, not full on
Yeah,
hero, like in the middle a little bit.
yeah, she doesn't particularly fit that kind of mold with how like pure the other Avengers are and everything. She's
Yeah.
just has her own problems internally that she's always dealing with. as you mentioned at the beginning, how she didn't have her childhood, how she lost her brother and her vision,
But she
and
had the sitcoms. She always had some good sitcoms to watch.
she always looked on the bright side, and I think that's admirable and very human, I guess.
So you think
Mhm.
by the end of it, she'll definitely be a hero because that's where I'm leaning towards
Mhm.
myself. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Wanda then for us. We also have the America Chavez character, if you have seen her in the trailer. Now, I don't know a whole bunch about this character. I haven't really read much comics with this character. So I'm not going to be able to say too much here, but I guess she's going to have a main part in here because she looked like she was in quite a bit of the trailer. Do you know much about the America Chavez character?
I know she's pretty recent. I wanna say her first appearance was not too many years ago, maybe 2017. She's kind of been that push into more diversity in superheroes and everything. She's one of the she fits a couple of minorities and things that we want to, I guess, have more representation of. And I think that's a wonderful direction that we're going in. It's always great to see someone that looks more like me.
Yeah, I definitely think it's great. Add a bunch of diversity, different characters, right? That
Mhm.
way we can just have, a more exciting movie because you're getting more characters included, more characters people can connect to. So I always think that's great as well. Now, does she have like powers and abilities at all,
I
or?
From what I've been seeing, she has the ability to open portals herself, and they come out in like starbursts. If you watch the trailers, they're really an interesting shape. And from the looks of it, she's going to be a central character, and I think she's the one that's going to be kind of helping Doctor Strange navigate the multiverse through her portals. So I think she's just going to somehow land in the same place that our universe's Doctor Strange is at, and from there just stick with them and lead on.
So she's like going to be, I guess, like the Doctor Strange sidekick, then I guess we could kind
I
of lean
think
towards
so.
you, right? Okay, so she can do portals, multiverse stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
I'm excited for that then.
I'm
Yeah,
not,
that's
although I'm
interesting.
not too sure how the captain sort of thing, the Captain America sort of thing plays in with her, especially since we're going to have a different variant of Captain Carter.
Yes, yes, Captain
Yeah.
Carter. So I don't know if we can say is
Is
Captain
she
Carter
confirmed?
officially confirmed. I know she was in an
She was in.
image, I think,
Mhm.
within the trailer, right, where we saw her shield, I
Mhm.
believe. But I don't think we got like a good look at her or anything. Like she wasn't like a prominent character in the trailer. But I would guess, my guess is she's in the movie. Like if I had
Yeah.
to, bet on it now, I'd say I would lean towards it. I think I would lean towards Agent. Well, I guess Captain Carter now. Do you think that's pretty safe of a guess?
I think it is. I think
Okay.
so.
So, all right. So we got Captain Carter. Now we also have, well, I guess Professor X, right? We see Professor X with the
Mhm.
chair, the voice. So I think it's safe to say Professor X is confirmed here as well, which is awesome because now we got some
Yay.
X-Men characters in here. Yes. We've been waiting for many, many years, right? Because Disney acquired what?
Mhm.
Fox like has it been 5 years now? Feels like it's been 5 years. So we've
It's
been
been a
waiting
while.
for these X-Men characters. And so I'm excited to see Professor X here, but I want to know like what is this Professor X doing? Is he a part of like the Illuminati? Is that what it is? At least that's what I was kind of
Um,
picking out of the trailer.
yeah, that's also what I picked off of it, and I think also kind of incorporating again the what if show and how the Watcher chose a couple of individuals to run super missions and all of that, and I think it's going to be something similar here. I don't know if they'll directly call it the Illuminati, but definitely a team of the more, I guess, I mean, they're also smart, but the most intelligent characters, and I think a version of Doctor Strange will fit into that group towards the end.
Yes. So Professor X then he's definitely pretty high up on the food chain, I'm guessing, right? In this movie is probably like top
Yeah, and
level,
he
I'm guessing.
he runs the X-Men. So
Yeah,
the
so
X-Men themselves are already amazing, but this guy organizes them.
hey, that's true. So I'm definitely excited to see Professor X. Now, for our other, I think that's all our confirmed hero type of characters. For
Mhm,
villains, I know we have Shumara Goroth, which was like that octopus squid looking alien monster. But I'm
mhm.
trying to think, was there any other villains that were shown off at all?
That's kind of, what's so confusing about what the trailer's been giving off, because like you said, is a version of Doctor Strange the bad guy, but there's, he could actually be one of the good guys, and, same with Wanda. Is Wanda the actual villain, or is she actually the hero in the end again? So
So
there's just I
yeah,
don't know.
it is tough to try to predict here. I'm thinking, well, there's probably like four possibilities, I would say. Wanda's the main villain. That's a possibility, but I'm not leaning towards that myself. That different Doctor Strange character, right? That alternate character you were mentioning, that could be
Mhm,
the main villain, possibly. Um, or I mean, we could have just like or the Illuminati, I guess, like or like just some
mhm,
evil group at the top that could end up being the main villains. Or another possibility, they haven't even mentioned the villain yet. We haven't even seen the true villain in this movie. It could be like just at the end, they pull out some villain we were just not expecting, and kind of like what they did with Doctor Strange 1, right? We
mhm,
had a villain, but then they pull out Dormammu towards the end, right, as now the main villain. That's
yeah.
another possibility. So those are like my four possibilities there, but I just don't know which way to lean on what's the most likely one.
Or do you think that maybe it'll be more of a Spider-Man situation where they just kind of surprise us with a returning villain?
A returning villain. Now that's interesting. I'm trying to
Mhm.
think, well, who would be the returning villain though? That's maybe it's Morbius. Could you imagine? Could you imagine everybody's face would be like shocked, like what just happened? Oh my goodness, I would laugh
That would
so
be
hard if
great.
that happened. But yeah, I can't think of what would be that villain just out of left field that I'm like, oh, who would they have? So I don't know. It's a possibility, but we're gonna have to wait to see kind of how it plays out. So this leads us into our next question here, and this is going to be our sixth question, which is what cameos would we like to see in Doctor Strange 2, and also what cameos do we think might be a little bit more realistic? Now, I did a whole video on my channel of this already. I'll link that in the description below, of course, to watch after this video, but I talked about some cameos I personally want to see. I want to see the Thomas Jane Punisher back. Punisher, my favorite Marvel character. Don't think it's going to happen at all, but that would be awesome. Also, I'm thinking, what if we get a Fantastic Four character back? What if we get Chris Evans, Human Torch, and we have him against Chris Evans, Captain America in the same movie? Hey, I think that's a little bit higher of a chance because you got Chris Evans, right? He's already in the MCU. But I'm trying to think, I mean, who else are they going to pull in? I mean, Ben Affleck's Daredevil, hey, you never know, right? So these are cameos I'm thinking of. Last American Girl, what are some cameos you would like to see in the movie, and what do you think's more realistic?
I think the Chris Evans things is a bit of a stretch, but now that you've planted that image in my mind, I'm definitely hoping for it now.
Hey, we have had
um,
Chris Evans versus Chris Evans before, right? With
yeah,
Captain
yeah,
America versus Captain
that's
America,
right.
it's just now one of them throws on the Human Torch outfit, right?
Hmm. I think I'm most excited for more X-Men. As I mentioned previously, I'm pretty sure that we did get a glimpse of Quicksilver. I would love to see a return of Evan Peters yet again, and also the classic X-Men like Cyclops and Storm, Jean Grey. Even oh, can you imagine if we got Wolverine
I know.
back in
Yes,
it?
that would be amazing. I'm glad you brought up the X-Men because I'm like, I know there's some characters I've talked about before that I'm completely forgetting right now. But yes, the classic X-Men characters, Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, we gotta have that in here. Now, I think it's not a very high chance, even though I do think there's a chance there, just because I think, Hugh Jackman's kind of been done with like the superhero movies. I think Logan was that movie that was kind of his final send off where he may not come back to anymore. But how awesome would it be?
Yeah.
So I think for what the fans want to see, I would agree. Wolverine is probably that one there that everybody wants to really see. Also, I'll throw this out here. What about Magneto?
Ooh, like I said, reoccurring villain. I think
Yes,
he would be
because
something that.
remember in the comics, Magneto is actually the father of Wanda.
Mhm. Uh,
So
yeah.
I'm thinking, what if Wanda is causing some havoc here? And then Magneto just kind of swoops in at the end and is like, hey, it's okay. It's going to be all right, you know? Right? They
What if
kind of
what if
calm her
she's
down.
trying to find her family and she's
Yes.
starting to pull them from a different universe because Magneto is confirmed to be Evan Peters' Quicksilver's father.
Yes. So yeah, that's what we get. We get Quicksilver, we get Magneto, bring the family back together. Yes. I think that out of all the things we've suggested here, I'm leaning towards that may be a more likely chance. I'm
Big
kind of
plot
like
line.
50-50 on that one myself.
Mhm.
What do you think? What do you think the chances are of that?
Uh, I think it might be a little less because it would feel more of season 2 of WandaVision
Mm,
rather than the plotline of Doctor Strange. But like we've said, we're not even sure what the plotline of Doctor Strange
yeah.
2 is.
Well, and I don't think we're getting a WandaVision season 2, right? I don't think there's been one
um,
confirmed, right?
Not confirmed.
Yeah, and
No.
I do think they did say that that was like a limited series. And
Mhm.
usually when they say that, that usually means like
That
one
means they're
season.
done.
Yeah. So, but that would be cool. I'd be totally down for that.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. I'm trying to think what are the cameos that are most likely because Marvel, Kevin Feige, he's throwing in
Yeah.
cameos, right? He has to have the fan service to make this an epic movie, make it an event level movie. So I'm just trying to think what are the most likely cameos. I mean, he could bring in an Incredible Hulk from like, the old Hulk
Oh,
movie. That's a
there's
possibility,
going to
you
be
know?
a She-Hulk movie.
Oh yeah, show. Yes, the
Oh,
She-Hulk
show,
show.
it's a
Yes.
show.
Yes.
Oh, so maybe this will be the introduction into that.
Yes, that could be as well. So, oh, that's a good point. Are they going to bring in the TV show characters to this movie?
Mhm. That's also interesting because I'm thinking of Eternals,
Oh
and I thought that
yes.
Eternals was going to be the some version or introduction to the Watcher, how they were going to bring in What If. So I'm also wondering how the Eternals are going to be playing into this
Yeah. So
as
I'm leaning towards I
cameos.
don't think the Eternals are going to be in this movie, and if they are, I
Mhm.
think it will be a very quick cameo. I think the Eternals are actually supposed to be in that Marvel's movie they have announced. I think I was hearing something about
Mhm.
that. So I don't know if the Eternals are going to show up here because I don't know. We need to have some kind of cameos here. I just I just don't know what are the most likely cameos because it has to be something that shocks the audience, that gets us all excited for it, that we're all
Mhm.
talking about it, like with Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, those were great
That's
fan service
great.
cameos,
Yeah.
right? So what's our cameos for this movie? I'm still if I had to guess right now and kind of lean towards one way, I s- I think it is some classic X-Men. I think that's
Mhm.
or maybe new X-Men. It could be just like new X-Men then trying to set up an X-Men movie or Fantastic Four was setting up a new Fantastic Four movie, right? I mean,
What about Venom? We got a little bit of a glimpse of Venom at the end of Spider-Man, how he stayed partly in this timeline, in this universe.
yeah, so we could see a
So,
whole new Venom,
hmm,
right? With that symbiote. That's
Hmm.
another possibility. Yeah, I didn't even think of that one. That yeah, that could happen as well. It's tough to because there's so many possibilities, right? And it's like,
Hmm.
are do you go with
And
the
then, like you said, now that we've expanded into the X-Men universe, that list just quadrupled.
oh, imagine that because at first I'm thinking, right, they maybe bring in one or two like big X-Men characters, but you started throwing out all those X-Men
Mhm.
names, Cyclops, Storm. What if like it's just a whole bunch of them and it's just a one big giant portal that opens up and we get all the X-Men? Could you imagine that? I mean, that would
Just
be
all the X-Men.
yes. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be so outrageous, but that would be so fun. So I don't know what cameos we're gonna get, but I'm gonna give my guess. I'm leaning towards some kind of X-Men, whether old or new, and
Hmm.
some kind of Fantastic Four, whether old or new, and maybe some of those Disney Plus characters. I mean, maybe we get Moon
Hmm.
Knight in this one. Why not?
Oh,
Moon Knight's going on right now. Way to promote the show, I guess. We throw Moon Knight in there. So I think there's a possibility there as well.
it's all over.
That's probably what I'm leaning towards. Where would you go with this one, Last American Girl? If you just had to
Well,
make a bold prediction, what's most likely?
another thing I remembered, and I do think it's something like I've got my sister right here, and she just reminded me that they just announced that they're going to continue the X-Men animated series with
Ooh,
X-Men 97, and they're
oh
just
my
gonna
goodness.
pick up where they left off, and that Professor X's wheelchair is the same color as his is in the series. So I think what I'm pretty sure is the direction that they're going with here is that they're going into the X-Men and trying to promote that and bring that in. I mean, how many more X-Men movies do we need? We need more.
Yes. So yeah, I
And
would say
also Deadpool.
X-Men. So X-Men, I guess we would both agree, is probably the safest bet for what's gonna happen in some way or form, whether it's classic, whether it's new ones, or as you just mentioned, I'm glad you brought up the animated show. What if they went to an
Mhm.
animated universe and we got the
Ah,
animated X-Men, right, to promote the show? Why not have
yeah.
a animated part of the multiverse show up?
Hmm.
That's a
And
possibility
also,
too.
like we said, have it be like a back and forth between the What If, the
Yeah.
animated versions of What If, and the acted versions acted.
I know. I mean, there's so many possibilities. I mean, we could get those animated Marvel zombies, right? If anything. I mean, there's so many different ways it could go. But
Yeah,
awesome.
and
Okay, let's
that's the mess that Spider-Man put us in, and it now gives us too many ideas.
yes, yeah, I mean, Spider-Man did kind of just open up everything too. Hey, if we can get, the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin back, we can get anybody now, right?
Yeah.
All right, so our next question here, and I believe we're on question 7, I believe. What do we think of the Doctor Strange 2 trailers so far? Because we've gotten a couple trailers here. We just got recently like a final trailer. I watched it a few times before getting into this pregame show. And to me, these trailers are like amazing, but so confusing. I'm just like, what's
Yeah.
going on here? There's so much going on, but I'm intrigued by it. But I still have no idea what the story is. Have you thought of the trailers?
And as we've been saying, I have no idea what the plot is because the trailers haven't been giving us much. And I think that they might not be giving us too much because there's going to be a big central character that's going to be showing up a lot. Perhaps, like I said, perhaps it's the villain. And so they can't show us too much in the trailers. And I did like their setup, how they started kind of teasing everything. They didn't straight up put America Chavez into the first trailer, but now with the newest trailer, she's most prominent in it. And uh, I think in the with also how with Spider-Man, how they edited the three of them all three of them out in a particular scene, and I don't think they want to have that mistake again. So they're just completely leaving certain things out of the trailers.
Yeah, because that's a good point. What if there was something there, but they just once again, they don't wanna show us it, right? It's that big
Hmm.
surprise moment we've been talking about, that event level moment. So maybe that's why the story feels, like, so disjointed right now, and it's kinda hard to follow because I'm like, "Okay, it looks like there's stuff going on with Wanda." That was a lot of that first trailer, right? But now with
Hmm.
this new trailer, it looks like, okay, yeah, as you mentioned, we're getting America Chavez quite a bit, and then we have, like, this Illuminati thing going on with Professor X, so I'm just like, I like what I'm seeing on screen. It looks very like mesmerizing. Like, okay, these are gonna be some awesome visual effects. We're gonna get great characters, and I know the story is gonna be all over the place. But I just don't know where to go with this story, and that leads us to our next question, actually, which is our question 8. So we'll go right in this question: is how do we think the story is gonna play out? Once again, I know the trailers have been super confusing. We've been getting a lot of information, but not really, but a lot of imagery. And so
Hmm.
my guess for the story, and so this is like my bold prediction, this is how I think it goes. Basically, we have Doctor Strange kind of suffering some effects from the impact of Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Messing up with the spell, causing all that havoc in that universe. To me, he's in trouble, right? Whether it's by like the Illuminati or whatever it might be. Because I think that spell he didn't just mess with Peter Parker and those universes, but I think there's more ripple effects happening that now we're going to figure about in this movie. And then I'm guessing Wanda plays in it as well, right after the events of WandaVision, because she's still dealing with her grief. And now she's in trouble because she held a town captive, right? And because she has that line in the trailer, right? Saying, you know what, you do something wrong, right, with a spell, and it's
Hmm.
okay for you, but I do something wrong and I'm the bad person, right? It's not fair,
Yeah.
right? If I'm saying that correctly.
Mm.
Um, so I think there's going to be some tension there with those two characters. So I'm guessing Wanda is going to have her villain moment for a good chunk of the movie. I think she's probably going against the Illuminati in some way, shape, or form, probably taking out a lot of the Illuminati because we didn't see a lot of them there with Professor X, right? Like there was
Hmm.
empty chairs and things like that. So what happened to those other characters? So I think there's that moment there. And then that alter Doctor Strange character, I'm gonna lean towards that character being uh, I think there will be kind of a throwdown showdown with that character in some way, but I don't think that's going to be the main villain of the story.
Hmm.
So my guess is that they're pretty much going to be jumping around multiverse to multiverse, trying to fix both of their situations. Where Wanda is trying to fix her situation with all her family, that's causing more problems. So Doctor Strange, America Chavez are kind of going on these little leapfrog adventures to clean everything up, shut everything down, get things back the way they should. And so I don't think we have our big villain revealed yet at all. I think that's going to pop up towards the end. And I do think Wanda will then, after she deals with her grief, she's good. She gets her family, whether it's Magneto, Quicksilver shows up. They will all work together as a team and fighting whoever the big multiverse villain threat is, which I just don't know who it is yet. But that's kind of my guess for how the story's gonna play out. But yeah, I mean, I can be completely wrong in so many different ways with the story prediction. Last American Girl, what do you think's gonna happen with this one?
Mhm. As we said previously, we didn't look at any leaks or spoilers or
Oh
anything
yeah,
online,
no
so
spoilers
this is
here.
just
This is just
completely
speculation.
yeah, completely random guess here. But I think it's going to be kind of a what if. I really liked what if, and I really want them to incorporate it into this. So I think it's going to be kind of and the reason that they haven't showed us who the villain is that it's going to be an Ultron situation. How once he was done destroying the his own universe, he wanted to go after other ones, and I think it's going to be something similar to that. So the story is going to go that Doctor Strange is realize that the portal has been open. Maybe this is when Venom comes in, and it's like, oh, there's still a symbiote left here. So what else has been left in this universe? And one of them is going to be a villain, and this villain is going to start opening portals and causing chaos across the universes, and that's going to be the plot line of chasing this new villain through the universe, and he's going to seek out Wanda's help. Wanda is either not going to be too afraid of her own powers to help him out at first, but will kind of see the greater good out of this, and she will well, I guess sacrifice her own pain to help the universe. And through this, America Chavez is going to be the one to help them navigate and jump through. And
So you think that Wanda might pair up with that villain we're kind of speculating about at first
mhm,
then?
yeah, I think so. I think someone will want. Maybe he'll promise her family. Maybe he'll be like, "Oh, you already opened this portal. You brought your brother. You can keep bringing others." And she'll bring in Magneto, and Magneto will be to her who she consider well, her father, but he's actually a villain, and he will start destroying things, and that's why Professor X will come in. I'm not too sure about the Illuminati thing, but I think it's the most it's the theory that makes the most sense. But since I'm not too familiar with that storyline, it's kind of iffy to me personally.
Yeah, I'm not familiar too much with the Illuminati story as well. I'm just kind
Mhm.
of piecing it together with the trailer because it feels like Professor X is involved with it. And right, there was a lot of chairs there. It looked like there should have been more people there with Professor X. So, like, what happened to those people? Did Wanda just kind of wreck shop and take out a lot of those like powerful people? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm wondering too. So it's tough to piece this one together. It's so difficult. But I
Hmm.
mean, that's our story bold predictions there. I mean, we'll see how it
Yeah.
plays out. Maybe we'll get some parts of it right, or maybe we'll get none of it right. Who knows? Uh, but I
We'll
think
revisit this.
yes, but I think with us sharing our different stories of what our guesses are here, you can see how this can play out in so many different ways just
Hmm.
off of what we know. It's not like a lot of movies before. Like you watch the Iron Man trailer, you know how that movie plays out, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
simple, it's straightforward. This one, it's like it could play out in 100 different ways. We just have no clue. But I'm glad because now we're going to be able to compare our predictions after uh, the movie comes out, which is going to be great. All right, so this gets us to our ninth question here. Our ninth question: are we more? And this is a hot topic question here. I wanted to throw this one in here to kind of spice it up just a little bit. Are we more excited for this movie or Thor 4? Because Thor 4, right? Thor Love and Thunder actually comes out in July. Like we're still
Ooh,
hyped and
so
prepped for
soon.
I know. We're all hyped and prepped for Doctor Strange 2, right? It's coming out soon here in a week in May, but then 2 months later we get Thor 4, right? So
Hmm.
it's coming up quick. So that's why I wanted to throw this question in here. And so I'll kind of go with my thoughts on this first. Ooh, I think I might have the unpopular opinion here. I'm kind of more excited for Thor 4. I'm gonna go with Thor 4, and I'll tell you
Really?
why. I'll tell you why. They're both very close though. It's like, but if I had to pick one, so I'm just gonna basically go off the directors. So I really like Sam Raimi for Doctor Strange 2. He did a great job with the Spider-Man movies, right? The Tobey Maguire movies. I enjoyed his Evil Dead movies. He even did a superhero movie back in the day that nobody knows about anymore, Dark Man. Yeah, really random classic movie. I recommend it. It's pretty funny in some parts. It's Liam Neeson in there as the superhero.
Oh,
Yeah. So
have
it,
you reviewed it yet?
Oh no, no.
Ah.
I don't think much. Well, I didn't pick the review it because I don't think many people will know about the movie. They'll be like, "What is this movie?" Like, they probably won't even know it's a superhero movie. But yeah, so I like the work Sam Raimi's done, but also remember we have gotten things like Spider-Man 3, okay, which wasn't my favorite. It's not terrible, okay. It's kind of to me. I think I'm growing to like it a little bit more now, or maybe I just got used to it. I don't know what it is, but
You see it as like a comedy, it's a little
yeah,
better.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you see it kind of as a comedy, it works better. And so that's why I'm like Sam Raimi to me, he's either hit or miss. Okay. But
Mhm.
if we get to Thor 4, we got Taika Waititi directing again. Remember, he did Thor Ragnarok.
Mm.
And if you look at my top 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies of all time, and I'll link that video in the description below. I believe I have Thor Ragnarok at number 4. That's how much I like that movie. I think that movie was epic. I thought the music was amazing. I thought it was so entertaining, awesome action scenes with still having tons of humor, getting the Incredible Hulk in there. So I really like that Thor Ragnarok movie. And then Taika Waititi
Mm.
just has been a great director. I don't know if anybody's seen a Jojo Rabbit out there, but it's a movie he won a best screenplay for. So he's a really good writer as well. And so to me, he just has done some movies that I think are some of the best movies of all time. And so
Mm.
that's why I'm excited for Thor 4. And we got a little teaser as well, right? A Thor 4 is a little short one, not like
Yeah.
a full on trailer. I don't know. That was pumping me up. Like that looks so awesome. Like I'm like, oh, this could be like the Rocky of the Marvel movies. Like I'm ready for this. And also, you're gonna have Christian Bale as the God Butcherer in it, the villain. They haven't shown him yet in the trailers though, but he's confirmed. And so both are very close to me. Both are, I'm really excited for both of them, but I'm gonna have maybe the unpopular opinion here for now, and I'm gonna say I'm a little bit more excited for Thor 4 just for those reasons. But Last American Girl, I know you've been hyped for Doctor Strange too, so I think I know what you're gonna say, but let the audience out there know.
Quick question though. Your movie of the year that you were saying all last year, Free Guy, was
Oh, Free Guy, so
he
good.
in was he just in
Yes,
it or
yes.
did he direct as well?
So he didn't direct that one. Actually, the
Ah.
director of Free Guy was Sean Levy, and he's done a bunch of movies, but he directed like the Adam Project on Netflix as well. But Taika Waititi was an
Mhm.
actor as the
Yeah.
boss, right? In Free Guy, he was hilarious. That was like one of the best parts of that movie, and he's shown up in other superhero movies too. He was actually the first rat catcher in the new Suicide Squad movie, the dad of
Oh, uh-huh,
Ratcatcher too. So he has a
uh-huh.
little small scene in that.
Hmm.
But good point. Yes, you're backing me up. He's an amazing actor as well. Yes. Oh, and yeah, he actually does play what's his name? Korg, right? The rock guy that was in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yes, yes.
He's in it.
He's the
Oh,
voice for that
oh.
character. Yes. Okay, see, I'm getting more excited for Thor 4 now. Yeah, thus, yes.
Yeah, you've known I've been excited for Doctor Strange 2. I just like I said, ever since I revisited it after watching What If, the story and the acting and everything, it gets me it gets me really excited. And I love the love interest, Christine. I think she's perfect, and
Oh,
for
well,
him, and
we didn't even mention
we didn't
her.
touch on Christine.
Yeah, I she's in this movie?
I think she was in a trailer, but
Okay,
just briefly.
that totally slipped my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even wasn't even paying attention. So she was the same one from the first movie? Okay.
Rachel McAdams?
Yeah, she's a really good actress. Yeah, she was
Mhm.
good in that first movie, actually. I mean, for kind of the smaller part she had. So,
Yeah. And she
okay.
came back to do the voice for What If as well.
Oh, yes.
So, I love that. And I'm really excited for it because like I said, it's now one of my top. It's one of my favorites. But then going into Thor, I was watching the trailer and I haven't seen Avengers in a while, so I forgot that like he went off with the Guardians.
Yes, the Guardians.
So I'd forgotten about that. So I'm like watching the trailer and I'm like, is this just a new Guardians of the Galaxy movie? And then it's like, oh, here's the Guardians. It's like, ah, that's what's going on. So
So
it for
they're
me, I
kind
guess
of
it
both
doesn't excite me.
yeah, they're
Mhm.
kind of both event level movies though. I'm glad you mentioned the Guardians for that one. So it's like they're trying to beef up that movie too. But you said it's not really exciting to you though.
Yeah, because it's the same thing, and we're also getting the new Jurassic World and everything. And do we really need another Chris Pratt movie so soon?
Oh, you're not a Chris Pratt fan? Oh my goodness. The Chris's make that movie. You got the two best Chris's in Hollywood in that. Well, besides Chris Evans, but
Yeah.
those are great Chris's.
Great. Eh,
So you're not excited for Thor 4 at all? Like how low is it on
I,
your
I,
like
I'm
excitement list?
excited for Jane Foster,
Oh, Lady
the
Thor.
Jane
Okay, right. Oh,
Foster
the Mighty
variant.
Thor. She looked
Yeah.
ripped in that trailer. Like
Oh
she
yeah.
looked
I
like,
don't know
oh
what
my
she's been
gosh, she went
doing,
to the
but
gym.
sign me up for that too.
So you're
Uh,
so not too excited then for Thor 4, but for
I'll watch
Doctor
it and I'll
Strange,
be excited for it.
you
But
will get excited for it,
mhm.
but
But
not
right
as
now, I
excited.
guess my excitement is focused right now on Doctor Strange.
You're like, I can't think about it. We got hey, right,
Too
we gotta
many
be
theories.
prepared for Doctor Strange too. So I would
And
say
I'm hoping the end of Doctor Strange has some post credit scene that hypes me up
you
for
know what?
Thor.
That's a good question. Let's throw that question right in here right now. Let's talk about some post-credit scenes. Now, I wasn't even thinking that it's going to lead into Thor 4, but that would make sense because that's the next movie logically. So we could get a Thor 4 post-credit scene. I'm not too sure. I feel like it'll definitely be something we're unexpecting, though. I feel like it is going to be a surprising scene, or maybe we are kind of expecting it with setting up the X-Men movies. But I do think
Hmm.
one post-credit scene will be either to introduce us to X-Men characters or like set up an X-Men movie, or introduce us to some Fantastic Four characters, set up a Fantastic Four movie. Those are my guesses for an end credits. But now I'm thinking that Thor 4 lead in as well might be another post credit. Where do
Hmm.
you think with the post credits what we're gonna get?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lead into the new Thor, and maybe they because again with the space and everything, there that's what's going to happen. I'm also really hoping for again. You said that you don't think that the Eternals are going to be playing too much into this, but I'm kind of hoping for Star Fox with Harry Styles to come in, and I also get the feeling that because Thor is it's Love and Thunder,
Yes.
and Arrow's Star Fox is the god of love and everything. So I think
Yeah, and that's Thanos's brother, right?
uh-huh,
Okay, yeah,
that's going to
I'm down
I
for that.
that's my post credit, and especially since post credits are exactly that, just a tiny thing. They don't give you anything, and most of the time they give you something for not so much the next movie, but a couple after.
Yes, yeah. Hey, that's exactly right. So, oh, I'm
Mm.
so excited for these post credits. Yes, make sure you stay for the post credits, of course. I
How
hope
many do you
people
think there will
would
be?
know. Oh, good question. I'm guessing 2. I think it's gonna be a
Mm.
standard 2. We get a little mid-credit one, and then a final one after the end of the credits. That's my guess.
Mhm.
Are you thinking 2 or
I'm thinking three. I'm
What?
thinking one right after about hopefully the Eternals and Star Fox, then one in the middle of the credits with leading into Thor, and one at the end for just like comedic purposes. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
you stayed
just
all the way out to the red credit, like
Ooh,
the like with Homecoming.
oh, perfect time to mention here before I forget.
Mm.
Deadpool. I didn't even talk about a Deadpool cameo. What if
Yeah.
Deadpool shows up in a post-credit scene? Because you know how they had that in the Deadpool movie, and he's like, "Why are you guys still here?" Like, it was like kind of
Mhm.
like a play on that Ferris Bueller's Day Off
The
post-credit scene. Like, why are
yeah.
you guys still? You guys stuck around for this? Like, get out of here! Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious. So, oh my,
Mhm.
3 post-credit scenes. You know what? It could be done because I think one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I think it was the second one, had like 5
Yeah.
post-credit scenes. Like there was one of
Ooh,
them that had a ridiculous amount of like
with
little
the
short
atom and
post-credit scenes. Yeah.
everything, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, we'll have to see how, yeah, there's so many possibilities. All right. So yeah, just to kind of cap off this question here. So for me, for Thor 4, I'm probably at a 10 for that in terms of excitement.
Mhm.
For Doctor Strange 2, I think I'm at a 8 and just for excitement level, which is still pretty close. Last American Girl, just kind of ranking it real quick, your excitement levels for both.
I think I'm at a 9 for Doctor Strange. The only 10 here was Spider-Man. That's kind of my top for hype. I think I'm at a 6 for Guardians. Like I said, I mean, see,
You're
I
like, I
called it
can't even remember the name.
right. For
Okay, fair
Thor,
enough.
because it's two Guardians for me, even though I do like the Guardians, but uh, I don't have time to be excited for it yet.
Yes, yes. We will definitely get more excitement there. We will definitely have a pre-game show for a Thor 4 movie. You know we're gonna have that. So if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe right now, of course. That way you can get these awesome pre-game shows. But let's get into our final question here. This is our question 10, our most important question, at least for the business people that run these studios. How much money is this movie gonna make opening weekend? Now, there are some factors playing against the movie, but there are definitely some positive factors for this movie, right? So
Mhm.
we are still kind of getting out of the pandemic a little bit, right? I don't think it's like fully over yet. So there still might be some people that are a little cautious, just a little bit. I think there are more people coming out now. But the things that I think it has going for it is that it's Doctor Strange 2, so it's a sequel. Sequels usually do better because now people know about the first one. It's MCU, it's Marvel, so you already got that brand there. And the trailers have been awesome, so can't complain about the marketing there. Trailers have been great. So I think there's probably more positive factors going for this movie. And plus, we're getting into summertime, right? This is the
Yeah,
summer movies, the blockbusters.
this is the
So
May release, the
yes,
Marvel May
it's a
release.
May Marvel release, so I think it's good timing for a movie like this to come out. So my guess here is I'm guessing probably, well, let me say the low bar, I would say at least like 175 million. That would be like low bar for me. But I think it's going to be around the 200 million range. I don't want to get too high above that. I don't think we're going to get into like Spider-Man 250 range, for that domestic opening weekend. I don't think it's Spider-Man level, right? I mean, I'm still rocking the Spider-Man right here. I think Spider-Man was definitely a little bit more hyped and had more fans with it. I mean, you had generational Spider-Man fans
Yeah.
going out to the Spider-Man movie. Doctor Strange is still kind of a newish character. Not everybody knows. Like if you go on the street and you ask somebody like, "Hey, do you know Doctor Strange?" There's a chance they might not know Doctor Strange. Spider-Man, yeah, they probably know Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm guessing around, I'll say I'll say 200 million. Now if it does better, 210, 215, oh my goodness, I think that's going to be great. But yeah, I mean, it's a Marvel movie at the end of the day. So what do you think, Last American Girl? How do you think this movie is going to play out box office wise?
I can't give you a monetary value for it because now we have to consider inflation here, and the movie tickets have gone up.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I need to put into consideration here. And I noticed it when I bought my tickets. When I bought my tickets for Spider-Man, I bought them as soon as they were released, and I didn't get them at one theater, so I needed to check another. And I could only get tickets for the following day. And somehow they opened up a new showing, and I was able to get both. And I think that added up, that kind of hype that they give them added up to how much they ended up making. because
Yeah,
people
because I
saw
think
it twice. I saw it 3 times in, like, 1 weekend.
Woo.
I
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I only went out twice to see it. I went out twice,
know.
but don't worry, they got my money because I got the 4K steelbook of No Way Home. So I totally did an unboxing of that video. One of my most popular videos, everybody. Make sure you check that one out too. I'll link that in the description. But yeah, I mean, right with the repeat viewing, like you're mentioning, that's very
Mhm.
powerful for a movie. So does this movie have that rewatchability factor? I mean, are you planning on seeing this movie more than once? Like, where are you at with that?
I haven't planned for it. Again, I have high hopes for it because, again, I was unable to get tickets for opening day. But I was able to fairly easy and late in the game get tickets for the following day because I like watching it in the big theater. I don't like the smaller theaters for Marvel movies. I like the giant ones.
The
So
premium theaters.
yeah, the premium theater. There we go. um, and we were able to get tickets for that one, and this one, at least movies for me and my family, for my family and I, are we do things together, and with Doctor Strange, we're all going together, all of the four of us, and we're going to sit down and enjoy it. It's a noon showing and everything. So I think it's more relaxed. Whereas with Spider-Man, it was just my sister and I who were trying to get the earliest showing we could possibly get. Then the next day we watched it with our parents, and then the following, like, 2 days later we watched it with a friend and everything. It was just kind of like you said, the generational thing. It was a quick sort of thing. Watch it with everyone, watch it with family, watch it with friends, and with Doctor Strange, it feels more of a movie that you go to enjoy, not necessarily get try to beat the spoilers for.
So yeah, so it's not like a rush out to kind of movie. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna be straight up, I don't even have my tickets yet for this movie. But reason why is because I was checking and
Mhm.
there's still tons of seats available, at least where I live, to get them. So
Oh.
I'm still gonna show up pretty early in the weekend to
Mhm.
see this movie. And I think I'm gonna be fine getting a ticket. It doesn't have that once again that Spider-Man factor of like,
Mhm.
oh, we need this ticket right away, like waking up early, like, did you get your ticket? No, I didn't get it. No, I think it's more like, yeah, there's gonna be seats available for this one. So it's so tough to say. It's like,
Mhm.
how is it going to do? So you don't think it's gonna do as good as Spider-Man level, right? Is that pretty safe to
No,
say?
that's
Okay.
safe to say.
Now, is it going to do better than the Batman? Would you say that?
Um, it's a different comparison for me because I think, and we've talked about this, how there's a pretty big difference in the target audience. Marvel movies tend to be more comedic and family based and all of that, and with DC and the Batman, it's kind of that dark, mysterious aspect. I loved this last Batman movie. They think they did a fantastic job with it, but I didn't watch it until 2 to 3 weeks after. There wasn't. Yeah, I know you love Batman, but
Yeah, no,
um,
but I agree with
wasn't
that. Yeah.
stoked for it. Where like we said, the rush that watching a Marvel movie first gives you.
Yes. Yeah, because the Marvel movies are really those event level movies. And I liked how you mentioned the targeted audience, right? Really, the
Mhm.
Marvel movies they're quadrant films, I guess you would say, to where they really appeal to everybody, right? Like
Mhm.
you can bring the whole family. You even mentioned, hey, your whole
Yeah.
family is gonna go out to this movie. I know for the Batman, you know what? Yeah, I probably wouldn't bring the whole family to the Batman movie. Like,
Mhm.
I'll show up for sure, but I don't know if other people would want to see that one. Whereas like a Spider-Man movie, I'm like, you know what? I think this is a pretty safe movie. I can bring whoever I need to this movie. So, I mean, that's the good thing about Marvel movies. So, I think it would probably be safe to say that this one will do better than the Batman, right? Are we both
Mhm.
there? Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think so.
so better than the Batman. And I think Batman, I think it made like was it 160, 170, 180 million? It was around that range. Let me know in the comments below what the exact amount was, but I think it was around that 170 range if I'm remembering. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think Doctor Strange 2 is gonna be in the middle of the Batman and No Way Home. That's why I'm saying that like
Yeah, I think
200.
that's a good area.
Yeah, right? It's in the middle, right?
Mhm.
It's not at that super hype level, but it'll definitely do better because it's gonna appeal to more people. So that's why I'm guessing around that 200 million range. And you're kind of thinking the same thing, right? Kind of in that middle range.
Mhm. Yeah, somewhere there in the middle. I feel like we were saying, it's just a movie that might come with more repeats, and that's what makes it. But also, the repeat watches, I'm not too sure that they're going to be immediate. Question here for you is that what about the production? Because with all the CGI and the effects and everything, do you think that'll kind of give a cut into their
Oh
profits?
yeah. So they spend tons of money on these movies, right? Just for the visual
Mhm.
effects you were mentioning. And of course, obviously, the big name talent, all the production that goes into it. So they really need people to go out to the movies for this one. Like, people need to show up definitely. So I have no idea what the production budget was on this one. So it would be
Mm,
completely a random guess. I'm guessing with a Marvel movie, a big blockbuster like this, I would guess it would be around 200 million range, I
mm.
would say. So, I mean, the cheapest to make a big blockbuster would be 150, but for visual effects like this, I'm guessing
At this
200 million.
scale,
Yeah,
this is
I think,
probably going to be fought mostly on like other universes or in between. But
yeah.
also that gave them the opportunity to do smaller sets from the trailers. Everything
Oh,
just
yeah.
looks like a small closed set, like just a room.
Yeah, and oh yeah, they definitely do a
Mhm.
lot of things with just kind of like the green screen and all that.
Mhm.
Like Spider-Man No Way Home was very much a lot of green screen, a lot of visual effects, but it was so impressive. We're like, we don't even know the difference here. We think
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty, and they're really not. So I'm
Oh,
thinking,
quickly before I forget, you were saying that about like walking down the street and asking someone about Doctor Strange, and they most likely wouldn't know, as opposed to Spider-Man. In one of the first Spider-Mans, when they're trying to name, I want to say it was the Green Goblin. They were trying to. No, was it Doctor Octopus? They were trying to name one of them. Uh, uh, and at the Daily Bugle, and one of the names that they suggested was Doctor Strange.
they're like, it's taken.
And now, that's taken.
Yeah, so I mean,
I think
yeah, but
that's
that was so quick. I don't think
and
most
it was so
probably
quick and it
would
was
have.
so long ago, but I had no idea and I didn't register it until I rewatched it in like December.
Yeah, so I don't think a lot of people know of the character. That's why I'm saying it's not going to be
Mhm.
Spider-Man level, but it still has the backing of it being an MCU movie. It's a Marvel movie. I mean, Marvel has worked, over 10 years to get us to this point where it's like, you know what? You go see a Marvel movie, it's going to be decent. It may not be your favorite, it may not be top shelf, but I've never gone to a recent Marvel movie and been like, "Oh my gosh, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life," right? Like, I don't think people are going to be ranting about the movie. Even if it
Yeah,
doesn't turn out like the best of all time, I don't think it's going to be like how people were with Morbius. Now, I like Morbius,
exactly.
but I know
Mhm.
other people were like ranting, like, "Oh my, what is this? What am I watching?" So I think,
It was weird, but in the end, it gave you like that feeling like, oh, I just watched a superhero movie,
yeah,
and
and
I
and that's
wasn't
how I took it as too.
dissatisfied. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
I liked Morbius.
it's a little action movie. It's
Yeah.
still a superhero movie. It's like a good popcorn movie. So yeah, yeah. I think because this is MCU, that's Marvel. It's still an event level film. It's a sequel. I think we're going to be about that 200 million range. That's where my guess is anyway. So just kind of our last thoughts, just to kind of wrap this up here.
Mhm.
Wow, I'm just talking about this movie with this pregame show here. I'm actually getting more excited about this movie, right? Because we covered so much information here, just talking about all the different possibilities that I'm hoping everybody out there watching this, of course, our audience is super hyped with this movie as well, because I know I am. I know you're even more hyped out there. And so my final thoughts is I think this movie is going to be great. I don't know how great. I think it's going to be great. And I'm pretty excited for it. Last American Girl, before I do my final sign off for everybody here, just what are your last thoughts here?
There's a lot of possibilities, and I'm excited to see what they're going to give us. I think there's just so much that no, they haven't confirmed for us, that it's nice to know that even after the giant surprise from Spider-Man, they're still trying to appeal and surprise us.
Perfect. Yeah, I think there's going to definitely be some big surprises with this one. So that will do it, everybody, for our mega pregame show. Once again, we want to hear your thoughts on this down below. Let us know in the comments. What are you most excited about for Doctor Strange 2? Do you have any wild story ideas out there that we didn't even think of? And how well do you think this movie is going to do opening weekend? Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, once again, make sure you subscribe because you're going to get a variety of movie content from me. You're going to get tons of reviews, rankings, movie news, movie hauls, unboxings, and of course, these more mega pregame shows. You know, we got a big summer of blockbuster movies here that have some fun pregame shows with. So make sure you subscribe right now. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss when I post a video. And of course, this is Mega Mike, the Movie Man, reminding you to make every day a movie day.